Have you not listened to your elders, my friend?
I've listened to the elder, but I don't listen to.
Okay, you have.
Welcome to Right Between the Eyes podcast, a KISS podcast with 3 generations of KISS fans telling you why we love it loud. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Right Between the Eyes podcast, a KISS podcast with 3 generations of KISS fans telling you why we love it loud. I'm one of your hosts, Rob Myers, and welcome to the Caruso version of the Road to Rosemont. So the last video, we got to see Xander's part of the Road to Rosemont. Now this is Nick, Nico, and myself. So I'm releasing these in the order in which we recorded them. And if you listen to the whole audio version, you'll be able to hear bits and pieces. And something I didn't say in Xander's version, I treated this much like a director would a film, at least for the audio portion of it. Just because I recorded something doesn't necessarily mean it made it into the final product. Sometimes our conversations would kind of splinter off, as most conversations do with people, but where I could tell like, oh, we've kind of got a little farther off, or we had started having a side conversation, that I didn't replicate that with Xander, who was just the previous night. So I thought, well, Xander's not going to have anything to talk about what Nick and Nico said, and then vice versa may have happened with Brant. So in some cases with Xander, the Carusos, and Brant, I cut parts of conversations out. So this is your chance to see the full conversations from Xander, Nick and Nico, and myself, and then Brant as well. So I've already done like a big intro for Xander's version. This is basically the full framework. I used the Nick and Nico and myself's as the landscape of like, okay, here's going to be the show length, and then I fit everything else into that. So again, crazy process. Without further ado, here is the unedited raw version of Nick and Nico and myself's Road to Rosemont version. And you'll see in here where I'm starting to reference notes that I had with Xander so I could formulate how I was going to ask questions to Nick and Nico. But anyway, here we go. Road to Rosemont, RBTE style.
This gets me. You look out into the audience and you see a 50-year-old gentleman with KISS makeup on, and next to him is his son, who's 30 or whatever the amount is, and on his shoulders is this kid, and they're all in makeup, and you do that. I'm the big bad guy. That's when you turn around and you go, because it gets you, because it's more than music.
All right, the Road to Rosemont is here. After just anytime you try and do thing with 3 people, you got scheduling. When you add a 4th person, you got scheduling. And now we've added 5 people to Rosemont. So we've had a little scheduling issues, and it's summertime. Everybody's doing things. So what you're getting ready to hear is a combined discussion between everybody. And on a future Rosemont episode, we will have the whole gang here. But right now, my good buddies, Nick and Nico Caruso, Right Between the Eyes, are here. The whole band is together. I've done a show with Nick and Xander, and I've done a show with Nick and who did we do? No, it's just you and I.
It was just us two. It was just you and me.
Yeah. But how is everybody doing in the wonderful Chicago area?
I'm doing really good, man. And it's weird because time is flying by. And the show seemed like it was really far away, but in all reality, it really isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, time is a flat circle, so
there you go. And what we're going to talk about today is probably my most memorable concert experience of all time. So pretty cool, man.
Nico, brother, how are you?
Good, man. I'm happy to have all 3 of us back. It's been too long, and it won't go that long again. I know that for a fact. We're going to make sure, but this would be cool to talk about because it's always cool to hear my dad's first concert experience. You know, I've heard it a lot, but I'm excited for you all to hear it. And we've seen a lot of shows at that Rosemont. You have too, Dad, of course, in your few years of life. But in mine too, we've seen a lot of shows there. So that'll be fun to talk about too. Because I'll be honest, this is the first time I will see them in Rosemont. We've never seen them in Rosemont together. It was either United Center, Tinley a lot, or various places in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So one of the first questions I had for everyone is, why the Rosemont show? I know another show that the three of us were looking at was the Indianapolis, or the Fort Wayne show was another possibility. I know, like, trying to pick out seats and stuff, but being that this is going to be the best use of this word will be bittersweet. Nick, this was your first time seeing Kiss in this very venue. You are going to see them the last time, potentially. Who
knows?
Who knows? Whatever Doc is. But in all seriousness, this could be your last. So why Rosemont, and what does this venue, that you're probably one of the few that can answer this question, that the rest of us are coming to Rosemont for the first time to see Kiss. And I know, Nico, you've never seen shows in Rosemont, period, have you?
I have, just not Kiss.
Okay,
there.
not Kiss. Okay.
Yeah, not Kiss there.
So then I want to fold that into question. What does this mean for you, Nick, being in the Rosemont Horizon / All-State Arena to see Kiss? And then Nico, we'll kick it to you, just seeing shows there, and it's going to be Kiss. So let's start with Nick on this first one.
It's just a legendary venue for me because, number one, it's close to our house. We are literally about maybe 10 miles from the All-State Arena, which it is called now. And oddly enough, it is the first arena of the first show I ever saw. The first concert I ever attended was Styx on the Paradise Theater, which I believe was February 1981. So I was 16 years old. That was my first rock concert. I had seen Sinatra. I had seen Barry Manilow. I had been to Vegas. I'd seen a lot of people with my parents, but I never saw, that was the first rock show I saw. So and I spent a lot of time at that place waiting in line for tickets for Journey, Van Halen, AC/DC, Whitesnake, Bon Jovi. I mean, you name it. U2, the classic 87 Joshua Tree tour there. Just a memorable place for me. And it never got more exciting for me, or nothing ever reached the levels on that July 14th, 1996, when I got a chance to see the band that I never saw before in all their glory. So that particular place, for it to be the last, perhaps be the last place I see them, it's just, you couldn't write the book any better than that for me.
Nico, what is it for, I guess maybe you can answer this question. Both of you can. What is the Rosemont? Is this a big venue for the city? Is this like the pinnacle where people go, or is this just another one? Like, what was your first show at the Rosemont?
Geez, I don't know about that one. I don't remember what my first show at Rosemont was, but it will be cool to see him when my dad saw him the first time his last time. I think that'll be cool, and that goes without saying. It'll be cool. It's always been the greatest concert experience every single time with him. So and the fact that y'all are going, and especially you, Rob, it's going to be just so poetic, and I think that is why we ended up choosing the Rosemont show. Is there was so much beautiful symbolism in it all. The most recent show we saw there was Journey. And I was smiling. My dad's gonna smile because your boy here was I got pretty cooked at that show. I won't lie to you. Oh man, I don't remember the last 10 songs.
You don't know if you stopped believing or not, or if you even started.
But I did that third, which was awesome. And I cried during it because it was beautiful. Because that's the first time I saw Journey, and to see Don't Stop Believing live, I also think it just hits different. Especially being with our whole family who went. My first show at Rosemont, I mean, it had to be. It was never Bon Jovi. They always did United, right, Dad?
Van Halen, right?
No, that was my first, but that's up there. Okay. There had to be someone before. Might have been Van Halen. Back in what
was that 2012?
Yeah, that was 2012.
Probably.
I mean, it might have been some before that, but I don't think Bon Jovi was ever there. I don't think the Goo Dolls, we saw them there.
Well, you were driving because you had to drive after the Van Halen show.
Yeah. I was driving. I was driving at the time.
We were with some coworkers, right?
I had to drive home that show. That's hysterical. I was so nervous coming out of a concert venue for the first time.
So you were at least 16 or 17.
I was at least 16.
That was 2012. That was the the second tour with David, because I think they started in 08 or 07, 08. And then that was the Different Kind of Truth actually tour. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay. It's when their new album came out.
But that's I don't
You
really
remember that show too? What was crazy about the beginning when he was complaining about the
his mic wasn't working and it was
no,
on.
and then like something the fans, remember his throat?
Yeah, the fans were too high, or were they not?
Yeah,
working?
he was complaining that it was
turn
him down or something like that.
It's hilarious.
David Lee Roth.
That was funny. But yeah, those are the main ones I remember. I mean, I've seen other artists that like my dad wouldn't know or isn't a fan of there, but I don't remember the first. But let's go with Van Halen for now. But I'm sure I was there because that's also where the Chicago Wolves play, the minor league hockey team.
Oh, okay.
And so Rob, it's not a big place.
So for me, it probably sounds like it's the Huntington Center in Toledo, where the Toledo Walleye play, which they're, a AAA team or something like that. They're not, playing for the Stanley Cup, or it's a local, it's where a lot of people come in and play, but it's nothing like the Schottenstein in Columbus where it's massive,
Yeah, because the United Center is bigger.
It's not the United Center, Rob.
Okay.
So the United Center is right downtown. That's where the Bulls play and the Blackhawks play. So I would say, in all honesty, the United Center is kind of the premier venue.
Okay.
I think if you play there, but Kiss has played there a lot. We've seen Kiss there.
Yeah, we saw
3-4 times. So I don't know why I guess that's a great question. I don't think the attendance is a big difference. Maybe it's about 5,000 though. It might be just enough to where
they can sell out.
To fill this arena, Rob, and maybe United Center.
Yeah.
Having played there on the first two legs of this tour, it may be that they just felt they had to go somewhere just a tad smaller, but it's nowhere near like half the size or anything like that.
Gotcha. Now, another question I've asked everyone: how many times have you seen Kiss in your life? If you had to count or guess, like what show number? This is 15. Will be 15 for me.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I would have wrote this down, but it's easily probably about 24 or 25 for me.
Gotcha.
I think the last time we talked about it, somewhere around there, because that reunion tour that we're going to talk about tonight, I think I saw 7 or 8 shows on that tour, and then the Cycle Circus I saw 4, the farewell tour like 3, and then Nick, you and I have seen them 7-8 times, right, son? So
I think this will be for us.
I did miss one.
You did miss one. Right. I think this will be 9 for me.
Okay.
I don't think it's quite 10 yet. I think there was an opportunity to get to 10, and I don't think I'll ever hit 10, but I think it's 9. I know it's for sure 8. I know it's for sure 8, and I'm pretty sure it's 9. I don't think it's 10. If I'm forgetting one, I might, but I think it's 8 or 9 for me. So, which is a pretty good number, being, I became a fan in 06 or whatever. So,
good number.
It's a good number. It shows you how much they've toured since then.
Yeah, I know.
In fact, I've been able to see them 9 times in like, able to see them 9 times in like 10 years, like 7.
Well, maybe the easier question is, how many end of the road shows have you seen?
Oh, that's a good. I'm at 4.
I'm at 2 because I missed one.
Okay.
No, you're at 3. You're at 3.
2 in Milwaukee.
We saw the back-to-back 2019. It was Wisconsin, Chicago, and then COVID, and they came back to Tinley. You saw them at Tinley. We were at Sam and Joey again. Right. And then you didn't go to Milwaukee the second time. So you've seen 3 end of the road shows. I've seen 4. So I've seen that same. I've seen that same show 4 times.
This will be 5 times for me, having just done the Columbus.
You did that. Yes,
at the festival, which was a completely different thing. Xander and I were talking that he was at the Tinley Park show, and I said that's really kind of cool that you guys were there. And then in '97, Nick, you and I were at the Fort Wayne show, of course.
Right.
That's, almost 30 years in between.
That's amazing.
But that kind of how these
26 years ago, Rob. Wow.
26 years ago, you and I were in the same room, and now that's going to happen again with everyone.
You were just a lad. Were you old enough to imbibe then or no?
Let's see. I graduated high school in 92. That was 97. So yeah, I was 18 when I graduated high school. So a buddy of mine drove. So yeah, we were, I was fine. I walked in one way and walked out another way. So
I love it.
So again, this was probably just for you guys. What is Chicago and KISS? Is there a connection in the city? I guess the bigger thing is when this was announced in the show in 97, what was Chicago and the area like that the original band is coming back together? And is that feeling still with the city of Chicago?
Yeah, I always think I remember as a kid watching the television commercials in the 70s when they were at the stadium, right? Because the Chicago Stadium was another legendary venue that got torn down and the United Center took it over. But that's where the Bulls won their first 3 championships. They used to call it the Madhouse on Madison. And everybody played the stadium, from the likes of Frank Sinatra to Led Zeppelin to KISS to anybody who was anybody. So I can vividly remember being like 12 years old and so disappointed and seeing the commercial, KISS is coming to the Chicago Stadium. And I had nobody to go with. I didn't go. So I always feel like in the time that I've seen them at the Allstate Arena and of course at the United Center, I always feel like KISS, and they probably do this everywhere, but it seems to me like they have a little bit of a reverence for Chicago, because I think, as the KISS Army was from Indiana, right? That's where that whole thing kind of started. I think the Midwest, Detroit, Chicago, Indianapolis, Cleveland was kind of a hotbed for this group, right? Let's face it, they're from New York, but they didn't really hit it big in New York when they started. And they didn't hit it big on the West Coast either. So like a lot of groups in the 70s and 80s, I feel like Midwest, we took to these groups, we identified with them. And I think there's nobody that benefited from that more than KISS, Nick. I think I've told you that, Nico, right? I mean, don't you kind of feel that? Because obviously you don't know anything about that, but all the times you've seen them, don't they make you feel like that?
It's funny. Yeah. We've always said they're a band with such a great fan base because it's such a specific type of person likes KISS. And I mean that in the best way possible. I have always felt like I've been to concerts or sporting events in a city where it's kind of dead. I've been to concerts where it's dead. I've seen KISS now in 2 states multiple times, Chicago being the most. It's always electric. The fans are always there. There's kids even younger than me at shows. And I do, from what you told me, Dad, I feel like you're right. The Midwest is a special place because we do really love what we get. Yeah. And I think that's why groups love coming back here, because they always, Paul always tells the same story about the Aragon Ballroom, but you can tell when groups play here, they have a little bit more energy. Like I'll never forget, when we saw the Foo Fighters at Wrigley Field, there was people telling you like they were on a different level and like their energy, whatever. And I still feel that way with KISS when they're here. I think the vibe is always strong. I've never been to a KISS show and it feels dead, or it feels like it's not a big deal. I think we are good to the groups we like.
Yeah, now, like I feel like they play the Garden and they have reverence for that, Rob. But I don't know. They're from New York. They're the hometown heroes. I've never seen them in New York, but I got to be honest with you. From our neck of the woods, Rob, I always feel like the fan base is stronger. Don't you feel that way a little bit too, Rob?
Yeah, and I think like I've seen them in Toledo, here in Ohio, and Cincinnati, and Cleveland, but there was something different when I saw them in Detroit. And I'm thinking, I wonder if that's going to be like in Chicago. When I saw them at the last show in Cobo Hall, like the whole city of Detroit, it was electric. You knew KISS was in town.
Yeah.
And like hearing you say that, Nico, like even with Foo Fighters, even with Kiss, like there's a little something different when they're in those big major markets, especially in the markets that latched onto them where they maybe weren't hitting it really big out in California, but they played our neck of the woods and the fan base just rallied around them. So I think your Chicago's, your Cleveland's, your Detroit's, those are what really will make and break a band. And especially with Kiss, like why they hit, like, oh, here they're coming to Detroit again. They're coming to Chicago. If you look at their tour, they're going to hit those cities multiple times.
They've always come. Yeah, they've always come.
They do. You're right.
One thing with, Xander and Jeb from Kiss Army Things, they are sitting one section above us. We're in 111.
Yeah.
They are in 211, 10 rows.
Oh, that's great.
Up from us. And I don't know exactly where Brant is. So that's kind of cool.
Find him.
Yeah.
This is going to be so much fun.
It's not I'll tell you what, it's not a big, Nick,
you're taking the whole day off, right? Because I am.
Yeah. I'm taking the week off because I'm not coming back. I'm not leaving the stadium. I'm not leaving.
Nico's finding a road case and going, I just have to last 2 more days and I'll be in New York.
By the way, son, we have to talk about the sound check stuff because I think we're going to do that too. We'll talk. I'm still there.
I'm being informed of something live on the air. You guys are getting free content. I'm being informed of. Well, yeah. I mean, if Rob's doing it,
we're gonna.
He's the reason that I got Dubai. So he's
you're blaming him for Dubai. It's his.
I guess he could be the reason I get sound check.
I screwed you guys at the beginning, and I'm gonna screw you at the end. It's Dutch door action.
That's hysterical. But what's cool?
You have to go to Dubai to get the Dubai stuff. I don't know if you know.
Oh no, of course
Dubai.
You have to.
You guys got to. You guys got to get a plane ticket.
You have to form a nonprofit that donates to Dubai, actually, too. Right, but what's going to be cool about them being in Rosemont is when I say it's small, it's an arena. It's a large infrastructure, but it's really easy to walk around. So we'll find them before and after. Really,
the sight lines are really good there too. It's not.
It's not hard. Yeah.
We're talking about finding a meetup place. I've been looking at the stadium. I mean, it'd be really easy to say, go to the merch table. We'll find a little spot, and do all that type of stuff. And we got some particulars. I'll probably cut this section out, figuring out we'll do a little meetup, film a little thing. And then after the show, go sit in the seats and film as a little group.
Absolutely.
So, let me go down this list real quick. This is a really awkward show. Sorry, guys.
No, I like it. I think it's going to play really cool.
So we talking about Zeb and Jander. Brant, who we've been on his show and he's been over here. This is going to be his first Kiss show in 20 years.
I heard
that's right. Amazing. He hasn't went.
I know.
Yeah, he has.
Which I respect. I won't lie to you, but
and
that's cool.
What really pushed him to do this, because I was saying, I'm going to go see the show with the Crusoes. That's going to be really cool. He's like, I don't want to rain on your parade. I'm like, no, man, come. He's like, oh, I don't know. It was Xander and Jeb going. He's like, man, I kept saying, we're 4 from the end. You might kick yourself for not going. So he's making the flight. And he said, you know what? I went ahead and did the sound check. So I thought, well, he pushed me into the sound check. So I remember talking to Ellen going,
so did he get Dubai too, or no?
No, he said he wasn't going to get screwed that much.
He's a better man than us. Better man than us.
By the way, I loved the things you did where you determined if he was a real Kiss fan because he hasn't seen them, Nick, for over 20 years. So.
That's funny though.
And they're a round table, which was great. Everyone's got to go back.
What was his last show? Rock the Nation? Or right before that?
No, before that, I think.
Before that, it would have been Farewell. I think he hasn't. Yeah, he has not seen the current lineup.
So they were debating if you could be a real Kiss fan and not see them live, which I think you can. I'm not somebody that.
I mean, we even throw that into our comic books realm. Can you still be a fan of Spider-Man and not read a Spider-Man comic book? And
I'm kidding. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. You can.
But okay, sorry. I talked about a spreadsheet. How many times? Okay, 3, 2, 1. So one of the other things is I'm going to pick at Nico here. Something that we said on the Poughkeepsie soundboard towards the tail end of it was we joked with one another of like, Kiss can't do the same show again. And if I wish I could find the audio, but I know I have audio of you somewhere saying, even if it's only just one song, they're literally doing one song. They've swapped out Tears Are Falling. And Xander just told me that Do You Love Me recently is not the balloon drop anymore. It's
I Was Made for Loving
You. Yeah.
So they cut Do You Love Me. It's gone.
Cut Do You Love Me, where we said, we don't need to see Do You Love Me anymore.
So slightly shorter show. You are right. I mean, my dad have talked about this a lot, actually. Like, when we're there, we're gonna love it, and we're jaded Kiss fans. I will say this: like, Megan Love is a top Kiss song for me. It's a top song off of Rock and Roll Over 2, which is my favorite Kiss album. It's gonna be amazing to hear that. I will not lie to you. That is, besides I Stole Your Love, that would be like, if you gave me 5 realistic ones I could hear, Making Love would have been in that top 5 somewhere. So that's really cool. It was probably would even be in the top 3. It is funny though that they're only doing one different one. It's so funny. Now you have one more break before the fall, before October.
So I wonder, being the final shows, we'll let Nick answer just a second, but the final shows, I would like to think, okay, we're in the US. Let's change up other songs that were played on this tour. We always talk about realistic set lists and I go off the rails. Let Me Go Rock and Roll, Hide Your Heart, and Parasite have all been played on the end of the road. I would love it if you would do like a swap out, like, okay, one show is Making Love, the next show
That's what I wish they would do.
Parasite. We've talked about that before, a one-in swap. So Nick, what are your thoughts on, we're going to go see this show. This is like,
what if they drop Making Love by the time they get to us? Could you imagine?
Yeah,
I could.
Because you have
a guarantee.
Yeah, you can see that, because I Stole Your Love was in a rotation, and then a couple nights before you went and saw them, they took Your Love away.
They've hurt me before.
So Nick, what are your thoughts?
I don't expect anything. I just, at this point,
it's probably the better mindset
in
to
the
have.
ball
It's
game.
Healthier.
There's absolutely nothing. Like, I would be shocked. I don't even go to Setlist FM anymore and look, because I just figured that we're going to get Making Love, which is cool. And that's it.
Well, let's hope. No, hold on.
I think we're going to get it. I think it's in there. I think it's already programmed. I don't mean that tongue in cheek. I'm not.
That's hysterical. It's programmed.
But I think it's already.
Stinking Stanley. Stinking Stanley.
I think it's already there. You know, they've already got everything set up to it. And I'm so excited about seeing the show with everybody that the set list, it's never been more of a insignificant thing that I'm thinking about for this last show.
That was my thought.
Not anymore. If they were still touring and they were younger and we were just all getting together and going, but it wasn't the end. Yeah, I might bitch a little more and be like, God, I wish they would dump Say Yeah and this one. But at this point, guys, I don't know, Nick. I don't care anymore. I really don't.
This is the backdrop. Like, the experience is setting.
Yeah, it's going to
sitting between you two gentlemen is going to be icing on the cake. And when I Love It Loud plays or whatever
song, be fun,
to be able to look at you two in the eyes and go, that is so friggin' cool. I've heard this song 90 million times.
Yeah.
It's going to hit different. And there's going to be other people that we know there that we've been on this 2-year journey of starting this podcast. Mm-hmm. I can't think of a better way to possibly end my Kiss concert career than being in an arena with the two of you guys.
Completely agree.
I need to say
that's why I could really care less what they play. This is like I said, this is the first time where I'm not going to bitch about it. I'm just going to enjoy it, savor it, take it in.
Rob, when you saw them recently, did they do Making Love?
No, Making Love was not there. Say Yeah was not there.
Okay.
Do You Love Me was not there. It being a festival show, I knew it was.
It was shorter on purpose. Okay, so that is the one that gets dropped. Okay.
Yep. So I knew that, but being in a stadium with a bunch of people that were there to see 50 other bands that day, songs like, oh, here we go, Heaven's on Fire, kind of like, not that I'm rolling my eyes at it, people were singing at the top of their lungs, and it kind of, it kind of changed. When I've never seen I Was Made for Loving You with people like moshing. Like there was a circle pit going on. I'm like, what band is this? Like they were having a
That's
ball.
interesting.
That's cool. That's good.
So that got me excited. Like, okay, I know it's not going to be that way in Chicago, but like I'm pumped for this show. I'm glad I was able to sneak a show in there somewhere. So I want to move us into the July 14th, 1997 show and kind of talk about that a little bit. But I just recently watched, and I think I could put this on the clip of a Kiss convention tour in 1996, 2 weeks before the MTV Unplugged recording, where Eric Singer is doing a Q&A and a drum clinic. And somebody asks him at this convention, is like, do you think there's ever a possibility where Ace and Peter could come back? And Eric's response, which I'll probably slip it in here, but it was something to the effect of, it'd be a different band. Those guys are going to play differently. And he goes, quite frankly, I don't know if they have it to be able to do it. It probably wouldn't happen. So, and like I said, that was early in 96 and MTV Unplugged would happen, or probably 95 rather, would happen just a couple weeks later. And we know what had happened. So I just wanted to get your quick thoughts on like hindsight being 2020. Was that just Eric prepping, or, you know, was he kind of right a little bit? I remember being in the Tiger Stadium show, and when you see something and you're there live, and when you watch it later, sometimes you're like, oh, I didn't realize that thing happened. You know, what were your thoughts early on in the reunion tour? Like, could Kiss do no wrong then, or are you able to kind of see for what the reunion tour was?
Yeah, I think for me, I was just so excited that I was finally going to see them and they were coming back, that I never thought about stuff like, are they going to play well? Do they remember what they're playing? I guess I just assume that when you're a professional musician, I just thought that stuff never leaves you. And watching the Unplugged thing, everybody looked great.
Yeah.
You know, Peter looked good. Ace looked like he played well. And I never thought about that. And I really, unlike you, Rob, at that time, I didn't really pay a lot of strict attention to Kiss until after Unplugged came out. And I don't remember, I probably caught a repeat of it. I don't think I caught it live. And then obviously when the CD came out, and just loving that. And then that whole train started then with the reunion stuff. And I just got swept up in that, where I didn't. And when I saw them, which we're going to talk more about, like I thought they were great. Like I wasn't watching them with a critical eye of like, did Ace miss a note? Did Pete hit the wrong symbol or something like that? To me, it was like they were perfect.
Any thoughts, Nico, before we move into our?
No, I just didn't know. He's told me he's seen a lot of great set lists and they blended together, but I'm looking at the set list for this night and I want to
Go back in time.
You
want to flash yourself.
That's a nice.
If you were the Flash, you'd run back in time.
That's a nice way of saying it. I'll be honest. This might be the best Kiss set list I've ever seen.
It's one of to me.
No, I'm not. Yeah. I'm not shitting you. This might be the greatest thing, and I'm actually angry. This might be the greatest Kiss set list I've ever seen put together.
Well,
and had they released the Off the Soundboard, one of these full shows, Nick, where you got I Stole Your Love, Beth, and possibly Rock Bottom. I mean, what would be better, right? I mean,
right.
They still owe us like a complete one, because you're absolutely right. But I'll wait my turn, Rob. I'll wait my turn.
It's unbelievable. Holy Mary, Mother of God. Pray for us sinners.
Now at the hour.
Well, let's set this up. The Rosemont Horizon, July 14th, 1996. So, Nick, take us back in time. When this show is announced, what are you thinking? Like, knowing that the reunion tour was happening, but when this went up, what was going on? Like, even just in your life and like trying to get these tickets.
Well, here's the thing. My son was just born. The guy across from us there, he was just a little itty bitty baby, a few months old. I
Maybe.
happen to have the privilege of at that time I opened up along with my family opened up a nightclub called Jilly's Piano Bar, which would be the beginning of a career, a long career for me. It opened up in May of 1995. One of the benefits of having one of the premier night spot destinations in the Gold Coast, in the Triangle of Chicago, was that I had a lot of connections. So when these tickets went on sale, I was able to use that carte blanche, if you will, with someone that used to come in there that had a direct link to the box office, and I snatched 8 tickets for the opener and 4 for the night for a couple nights afterwards. So I was on it immediately. It was a focal point of my life then. And I had a lot of it was a really good time for me because I had a very successful business. I had a brand new baby, a baby boy, and I was married a few years, and things were really going well for me. And to the point of where, when you go through your life, a lot of things happen, but it was like it was just like a perfect time for me. It was like everything was just good. Everything was good. And the fact that I had those 2 nights, it just made everything better, to be honest with you. And we'll get into it. I didn't have anybody but one other person. I had 8 tickets and I only had one other person that was really looking to go. That was probably not as excited as me, but close. And I had to fill in those other 6 spots with some other people that just wanted to have a good time, party a little bit, see it. But I will say this too. You talked about it. It was a big thing for the area. It was national news. It was something that was talked about on all the news stations here. And it was never like that after that first visit, those first 2 shows. They played the 14th, took a break. The next night was off, and then the 16th. So that was really, for me, that was like the most newsworthy time for this band, and especially in our area here.
Were you in same spots for both shows, or did you have different seats the next night?
Nick knows where we like to sit. We like to sit on the Club 100 level,
Mhm.
first section away from the stage, and just had really good seats. We were almost level with the stage on the side, about a section over. Just, you could see everything. It was like, I always like those seats better than being on the stage because, like Paul says, wild animals down on the stage. I'm not a tall man in stature. I'm
Let me
about
tell you,
5.
Columbus, I was like, no wonder Nick likes sitting where he is. I'm
Right.
trying to not get body
Rob,
surfed.
Rob, how tall are you?
5'8", 5'7", probably.
Okay. I like to tell my son I was, before I hit my 50s, it was about 5'7.5". Now I'm about 5'7". So those seats have always been perfect to me. And I think I've spoiled you, Nico, right? With those level seats. You like those too, right?
Yeah, I do.
You are a pit guy now. You are a GA guy.
I will be a pit guy, but it depends who. I don't like being on the floor when there's chairs. I don't like that. But if it's open floor, I'm down there.
I'm the opposite. On the floor,
really?
with chairs, you keep the rowdy SOBs.
There you go.
That's true. That's true, actually.
But that doesn't give you a lot of room to move where you're like, I want to get out of this 2x2 little spot. So what my wife does, if we're on the floor in a seated venue where they have all the chairs locked, she will get the end seats and she'll unlock the chair and slide it out a little bit in the aisle.
Oh, that's cool.
Where I feel like I've got a little bit of room. So if we're on the floor, it has to be seated. And if we're on the floor, she wants at an end so she could take the chair out. And then inevitably you hear people behind us going, hey, she's done hitch this chair. And you can see all the ushers like, dang it. So this is going to be the Nick Caruso part of the show.
Oh yeah.
Let's do it. You're there building up for the show. You're going in. What are you thinking? Like, never having seen the band before. I know we've kind of touched on it in a previous episode, but this is Rosemont we're talking about here.
Well, we all pregame at my club downtown. And again, it's not really that far. Rosemont's about equal distance from my house to where the bar I had in downtown Chicago, we rent a limo. I go full out here. I got the limo rented, fully stocked, vodka, beer, everything you want. And we get there, and it is a pretty surreal experience because it's really the first time that I see people dressed as Kiss.
Yeah.
I don't think there were many kids. I don't recall it being too young of a crowd for those.
Not this time.
Yeah,
shows.
I didn't remember that either.
It felt more like they were when they were hitting their stride, before they kind of got oversaturated a little bit. It felt to me like an older crowd, a few teenagers, just an electric atmosphere. We pull up with the limo, we get out. It's a very comfortable arena. Get to the seats. The seats are just fantastic. I got to be honest with you. I don't even remember who the opening band was. I have no idea. Rob, you're going to look that up.
I can tell you the Melvins opened up first. The next night that you saw them on the 16th, the Nixons, they had one big hit song, and I cannot remember.
Okay, I don't really remember that. I remember, the crowd was great. We had great seats. The company I was with was good. And I just remember it felt like forever before they came on. I remember just being there, being focused. And at some point when it was getting closer to that time, I kind of took myself out of the conversation with the rest of the people, and my good buddy Ray, who was kind of feeling it with me and stuff. We were pretty excited just talking about how we used to sit in the basement and listen to Alive and Alive 2, and we had our own little band back in those days and used to record Black Diamond and a few things. So it was pretty crazy. It was fun. It was really, like I said, it was an experience. Those first two shows for me, I never felt the same, except for when I took my son the first time.
There it is.
That was
I was waiting for that.
Yeah. It was just
kidding.
Every other time was great. Don't get me wrong, but those first two shows were really that first one. The second one was almost better for me because I was only with three other people. The same thing again. The one guy repeated with me, but we didn't go all out like that. Like we just went there. It was a little more, it felt more like comfortable to me, but that first night was just all out, ball out. Just Eddie is going to take advantage of anything that I had to take advantage of. That's what I was looking at.
Yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. I was going to roll into something else. It's interesting, like you said, going to see your first show. I don't think anything ever really beats that first experience. You're just trying to look and take so much in, getting to see a second show. So it's been interesting on the end of the road, aside from being in the pit in Columbus. But when you're in your third or fourth show, you can kind of really zone in and just kind of enjoy the show for what it is. But, seeing them in 92 on the Revenge tour, and then I felt like I was rediscovering the band all over again. So I had a year's gap in between shows from the Detroit show to the Fort Wayne show. The Fort Wayne show, we were on the opposite side of the arena on Gene's side. And it was more like, I feel like they added a song or two. I think I Was Made for Loving You was added.
They did.
At the Fort Wayne show.
Right.
Yeah. So that's just cool. I know, Nico, you weren't there, but like your first Kiss experience, what was that like for you, just seeing the band that you had just recently discovered and getting to experience that with your dad?
I was nervous because it was like different. I had never been to, I've been to concerts. I've seen like U2 up to that point. I saw Bon Jovi, Goo Goo Dolls, Van Halen. No, not Van Halen. But I've seen a lot of shows up to that point. I was very lucky from a young age that he brought me to a lot of concerts. So he told me when the curtain comes down, my life will be changed and I will be a man. And I was. I'll never forget it. We talked to some nice people before.
Yeah.
I remember that first show so vividly.
Yeah.
Because we talked to nice people before. Then we got McDonald's on the way home. But we had the instant live the first half already. We got to listen to Deuce on the way home and everything and go through. I think it was the first 9 songs. So we had Deuce through Cold Gin or something. So that one's really vivid. That one's really, really vivid. I was also young and couldn't drink yet. That's probably why. But no, that one was really good. And I think what's cool about our first one, Dad, is they added cold gin, and you were really excited.
Yeah.
I remember that, and I was too. But I remember being like, I was following the set list at that point because he told me that they swapped out King and I Stole Your Love and shortened the show, but I forgot what song it was supposed to be instead, or there wasn't one. And so to have the first show to have Cold Gin there, that was pretty cool. But I was just so young. It was so cool though, but I was so little. How I was what, 13?
You were like 13. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I was young.
So a comparative, how old were you, Nick, for Kiss?
30.
30. Yeah.
13 going on 30. Great movie. Shout out to Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo.
There you go.
Actually, I take it back. I was 31.
Oh, shit. Well, now I can't make that joke anymore. Rob, take it out. Rob,
Take it
Rob,
out.
take that joke out. Take
I'll add it out.
31 years old,
31.
And, yeah, I never thought I would see them. That was always one of those things, Rob.
Well, wait, it's actually the inverse of 13. It's cooler.
Isn't that 13 going on 31?
Yeah,
See,
it's a
so there you go.
palindrome.
Palindrome. That's right. Race car.
If you put it 1331, it's palindrome. Not if you do it the other way.
Well, let's talk about this show. We're not going to go through track by track. We're getting closer towards the tail end, but we were talking about the set list earlier, and I mean, Deuce, King of the Nighttime World, Do You Love Me, Calling Dr. Love, Cold Gin, I Stole Your Love, Shout It Out Loud,
Christ.
Watching You, Firehouse, Shock Me, Ace's guitar solo, Strutter, Rock Bottom, Gene's bass solo, him flying to the rafters, God of Thunder, Peter's drum solo, New York friggin' Groove. I mean, when was the last time anybody said that at a concert?
Right.
Love Gun, 100,000 Years, Black Diamond, Encore, Detroit Rock City, Beth, and Rock and Roll All Night. Holy crap.
Like, did you know what they were going to do?
No, I had no idea. There was no where
There's no way to track it yet, right?
That's why when the curtain dropped and it was like I said, it was like a sensory overload from the smell of the smoke to the flashing of the silver to just the ears at that time. I didn't have those earplugs in. It was just thunderous and my heart was pounding with the bass and the bass drum. But I just remember being so elated, and I'm going to tell you guys something. From song to song to song, it just kept building. It never stopped for me that first show.
I felt honestly, the same way.
It never stopped. And it was like Kiss Alive meets Kiss Alive 2, and they like made love to each other, you know what I mean? And took the best of themselves, right, Nick? Honestly, that's what it felt like to me. And I remember this is so crazy because when I went home, like I couldn't remember the entire set list. And I remember the next day, like writing it down.
Yeah.
Because I was going to see him in 2 days and I missed songs. Yeah. I missed songs, because I think I missed like Rock Bottom and I missed a couple like Strutter. But I just got to tell you guys, I mean, looking at that set list, I mean,
if you remember when you were there, what was the most stoked you got for one?
Well, I mean, listen, I got.
I mean, it was King of the Nighttime World for second, right?
Yeah, but I mean, when they did Cold Gin with Ace, now vocally taking one
doing the second verse, see that's that.
I didn't realize. I had to go back and listen to a live and realize he didn't do that.
He didn't sing on it. Yeah, that's sick.
Watching you, I mean, I Stole Your Love. I took for granted at that time.
I did too.
It was not the mega song that it's become to me. I think it's become more of a bigger song to me because of Nico.
Hell yeah.
He loved it so much.
Hell yeah.
I always loved it.
I'll say the same thing, brother.
But it grew in persona to me because of how much Nico likes it. When they did Watching You, I have loved Watching You.
Yeah.
That's the time I heard it on a live. And to hear Rock Bottom.
Rock Bottom was my big takeaway from the Detroit show.
Rob.
Yeah.
Right? Rob, New York Groove with the lit up guitar Ace is playing.
Yeah.
Another great track because it was one of the only songs that I really liked from the solo albums back in the day. We've since gone back and listened to them and I have an appreciation for them. But at that time, that was the only track that got any radio play here. on the stations in Chicago. And at that time, Love Gun, 100,000 Years, Black Diamond. Oh my God. Seeing Black Diamond live, that was always my song.
Yeah.
And Detroit Rock City. But there wasn't one clunker. I wasn't tired of anything, Rob. It was like the first time. We're sitting here now, like 26 years later, and I'm like, I'm tired of Love Gun. I'm tired of Rock and Roll.
Wait, can I tell you what's like an interesting?
And you notice there's no Let Me Go Rock and Roll in here, right? You noticed that?
Yes, I did.
That didn't come till later. That
came later.
Yeah.
Can I just like not to dwell too much because I know we're getting towards the tail end here, but isn't it funny? Like I've never went to a concert, I don't think, and have not known what they're going to do.
That's amazing.
At least a lot of it. Like, yeah, Dad, when you brought me to U2 and when we saw Goo Goo Dolls when I was like 8, I didn't have a clue. But like since Kiss, since I found out, setlist.com and the message boards tracking setlist, like, yeah, they'll be I've gotten surprise songs where I get hyped, right? But I genuinely know most of the shows to my memory. And I think that's wild that like, and I'm almost jealous because I think it makes it better. Dad, like you're saying, like every song is like let's do this. Whereas like now, Dad, how many times have we been at a show and we turn to each other and we're like, what's next? Can I go pee? Right, let's go in 3 songs. Then it's almost like you're waiting. It's so weird. I'm so jealous, but so happy for you guys.
But Nick, that only is taking place in about the last, I'd say like 12 years.
Yeah.
Or so. Because quite honestly, son, when we went, well, we did know though, Nick, right?
No, we knew for Kiss.
16, 17 years now that we've been following this. Yeah.
We knew. But not only that, like there was like the message boards for a long time in the early 2000s. So you knew what the U2 show was going to be when we went. You're like, they're going to open with this song called Love and Peace because it's the first night. Like I knew a lot of what was going to happen in those shows.
You're right about that. You're right. The message.
How hyped were we when we saw the Goo Goo Dolls and you're like, dude, they're opening with Long Way Down. Do you remember that? I was so hyped back in what was that? 2000.
That's true.
I just played that song yesterday. I haven't heard that song in a long time.
Oh, it's so good.
We will have an opening act for the Goo Goo Dolls for Nico.
We will, please.
But yeah, Rob remembers the time, and I do too, like over 20 years when you didn't know,
had no
really
idea
what they were playing. And maybe the newspaper article.
Yeah, sometimes I know.
But I wasn't reading other newspaper. It's like the next day you would read the review, but I had no clue. Like those were nice days when you went to go see those shows. You didn't really know.
I want to say Chicago Tribune. Is that a newspaper? Is that
right?
Is.
Yeah.
It's not like me in Ohio is going to read the Chicago Tribune in the morning. I can't get it to find out what they played in Chicago.
Rock bottom.
Yeah, you would have no idea. So even seeing him in '92, I didn't know. Like by the time I was reading the Metal Edge and the Hit Paraders and all of that, that magazine's a month or two old. So if you're at the tail end of the tour, you may have a good idea of what they're playing. But the second show for a '97 of a Lost Cities tour, I had no idea that I Was Made for Loving You was going to be played. I thought it was going to be, and it was pretty much the same show, but it hit.
Take Me.
That's right. Take Me.
I had no idea that Take Me was going to be played. I had no idea that I Was Made for Loving You was going to. I had no clue in those days. So that was Come On and Love Me got into the set list for a little bit too.
Oh, that's right.
And they Lost Cities tour.
Yeah.
Come On and Love Me. Let me ask you guys this. I know we're getting there, but don't you think when you see this set list, and I know, Rob, you are a fan of the 80s. I get it. I understand that. But Nico, don't you think when you see this set list that it should be like 3/4 of this set list is what they should be doing now?
I just think the people who are still coming to the shows are your fans. And I'll be honest, someone's going to listen and say everyone's a fan. No, like I'm still beside myself that they think they need to do like Say Yeah. And I don't know why, because this song is so dope live, but in looking back, I don't know their infatuation with like War Machine the last 20 years.
I don't either.
I don't know why
it's a great song, but it shouldn't be
it's
on the
dope
last tour.
and it's dope
Not the
live
last
with the
tour.
robots and the fire, but I'm sitting there like, can we do Firehouse again? Like, can we do Fire? That actually, I would bet you guys money that one comes back. I still will say that. I said that on some other show.
I guess I look at that 80s trio of Lick It Up, Heaven's on Fire,
and Tears.
and I love it. And I love it.
I love it loud.
But those three are fine.
I know, but I just.
I'll be honest. Why do they have to do Psycho Circus?
They don't have to do Psycho.
They don't have to. I like it, but I don't think that.
Yeah.
This is my rationale for it. Psycho Circus marks Tommy's first official recording.
That's fair.
And Say Yeah is there for the Eric Singer, Tommy Thayer lineup. That is representing that one sliver. To me, it's the War Machine. You have I Love It Loud. You don't need another one from the same album.
You don't need another one. Don't need another.
And we've been saying you don't need Do You Love Me from an album that's already getting a lot of love.
And that's the thing too. Like Rock and Roll Over. Like they added Making Love Now, which is good. But like before that, you're right. Like, why does Creatures get 2? And like one of their most successful albums and most beloved albums gets 1, and it is Gene's staple, Calling Dr. Love. Like, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Love Gun barely gets touched.
Right.
And for Destroyer, they're keeping like Do You Love Me, but not like King of the Nighttime World. It's strange.
I think if I was them, and I know we're off on a tangent, coming back on this final one, I would think that Tommy, I almost would feel like they should throw the 80 songs out or a couple of them out and just say, hey, listen, we're gonna add, King of the Nighttime World, we're gonna add Watching You and one other one, and we're gonna get rid of a couple of these things. But unfortunately, it is. I didn't mean to sidetrack. It's just when you see this set list, this is a set list that everybody would clamor for here, I believe, at the end. But I don't think they should do Beth either, to be honest with you, with Eric. I love Eric, but I would rather have Eric sing Nothing to Lose or something like that, or exactly something different, I mean,
I would give up Beth for Nothing to Lose. Give Eric another lead vocal track. Give Paul a break. And I've been enamoring for, go look up the Eric Singer project when they're over in Germany. He, Bruce Kulick, and John Corabi. Eric sings Every Time I Look at You and Forever. Didn't know I wanted Eric Singer to sing Forever, but I would think Paul. I mean, I don't think Paul would want to give up his lead vocal, but I think that would go over a lot better than what Beth is. But I'm telling you, in Columbus, when Beth came out, the cell phones went up. People were singing it like crazy.
It's a tough one.
For a bunch of the GA, people were like, oh, it's the cat singing Beth. That's all they knew.
I do love I Was Made for Loving You put second to last, though.
So do I.
That's better. And without Do You Love Me, even if it's a shorter show, I just think that works more.
Me too.
Because I can't listen to him. There's 2 songs left, and he's going, Chicago, this song asks a question. I'm like, oh, dear God.
Somebody answer it quickly.
This is like a 5th song sort of stage rap. Like, we're about to get out of here, and you're going, do you? Okay, I'll stop.
Well, Rob, there is, I guess I'll close on this, but there are times in your life where, an event is so big and your expectations are so high and you're thinking to yourself, it can't possibly lead up to that. Your wedding, your children's birth. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Wow. Shot fired across the bow. It's almost like that submarine.
But this is one of those rare occasions where the show was so great. Walking out of there, I felt like so elated. It was literally like it was better than walking out of The Dark Knight, but it was that kind of thing when you go see a movie that just moves you or something, you go see a live play or anything like that. And so for me, that night was so special. That night was everything that I could have wanted it to be as a Kiss fan. And like I said, I mean, the next night was great too. I mean, it was great, a little different. It was a little lower key, but it was fantastic. And then, like I said, I'm going to have to go to the night where I saw him with Nico for the first time. And then I really believe our last night together is going to be probably fall right in line with that, just because we're going to finally meet each other. We're going to be with our other good friends. And I really feel that way, but this night was something else. It really was.
Well, you led into the final question. This may be an awkward one to answer now, because we probably won't know till we're in the moment, but is there something you're going to want to walk away from this concert, like a moment or a thing that where you could close your eyes and go, I just want to experience this thing? I'm not even talking about a song, a thing that you're going to look back and go, everything was worth it because of this, be it a song or catching confetti or just the people that you're with. Is there something that you're kind of going?
This last show for me is more about finally meeting you in person and meeting everybody else and experiencing it together, because I don't really believe, and I don't want to sound jaded or pretentious, there's not much the show's going to do for me that, and I don't mean that at all. I'm going to be thoroughly entertained by them. They're going to be great.
Yeah.
I'm going to be singing along to every song. I'm going to love it. But this is more about fittingly taking in the end of the road with the people that are important to us, and the camaraderie that we've developed. It's going to be more special than even if Nick and I just go, right, son? I mean, don't you?
I think so. No, I think he said it perfectly. I mean, I also have a whole drawer of confetti, so I don't need any more. But no, I actually do. That's very serious. It's all about seeing you guys, especially you, Rob. I mean, this brothership has been such a blessing that came out of, the worst time in our human history, at least in my lifetime. So, and then to have the other guys there and to just have, 5 to 6 diehard Kiss fans and being around all these other people. And now that we've had the podcast, we have more to talk about. And it's just be cool. Something's always cooler when you get to show it to someone or experience it with someone.
Yeah.
Like I always like showing someone a movie I love, or rewatching a movie that we love, or, going to that restaurant we like. My dad's right. There's not much. I've seen this damn show 4 times. And yes, the difference is the difference was I saw Tears Are Falling at one of them, and I think Parasite at one of them. The show's not going to do much. And that's not a bad thing. We're going to see it. I'm going to sing and jump to every single song like I do. I know I don't like Say Yeah, but when I'm there, say yeah. I'm doing it when I'm there. Yeah. I'm doing it when I'm there. So but to do that all with you and to see it, I will say for me, the extra bit of seeing them in Rosemont, knowing it's where my dad saw them first, that's going to be a thing for me. It will be emotional too, but not that it would have been great, Dad, if you and I just went, but you're right. This feels bigger. And I don't remember. I've never really done a concert where there's people coming in for it and we're going to see it together. That's the cool thing too, is it feels bigger. It's almost like we're making it.
It's an event.
Bigger deal. It's
like I'm going out the way I went in, because I don't want you to feel sorry for me, but 22, 23, 24 times seeing Kiss, I'm being honest with you guys. I've never, outside of having my son there and my best friend for the first couple, I've always gone
with not
where I was bringing people along, Rob.
Yes.
Yeah, we're kind of reluctantly, my sister, couple of coworkers, never anybody that shared the adulation like I did. And
so to have it be only Kiss fan.
It was kind of lonely. As great as it was like, a lot of my poor wife I dragged to probably 4 shows. Going back to the hotel room with her in Milwaukee, she's just tired,
And you want to talk about it.
Yeah, I want to talk about, so this to me is so damn exciting, because we're finally going to have our community together. Of people, and it's a shame that it's the last one. My only regret is that we didn't meet each other earlier. We didn't form that. Nick, you and I have had a ball. We've traveled. We've been on the road. We've had our own. It's been our own private thing. But this is really going to be fun, buddy. This is really going to.
It's going to hit different. I think it's probably going to be. I mean, obviously for me, it's going to be the most eventful Kiss show I've ever been to. And what's cool is the event in air quotes of it has nothing to do with the show.
Yeah.
Stage, which is cool to say.
And that's what this series of episodes is going to be over the next 6 months. So I'm getting it out there right now. The hashtag for the next 6 months of doing these Rosemont episodes is going to be RBTE RTR, Road to Rosemont. Yeah. I think this buildup of doing the shows with the guests that are going to be coming into the show that I'm going to add into this is going to be, I think we're going to have a buildup. We may not be getting to go to New York, but I think this is going to be as special as we can possibly make it. And I may go on a limb and say it's going to be damn more special because this is going to be our moment.
It's going to be for us. And honestly, no disrespect to Fort Wayne, but Road to Fort Wayne, it doesn't sound as sexy as Road to Rosemont. We did the right thing.
That's right. So I think that's where we're going to end this episode. Again, everybody's social medias are going to be in the links down below. Go check Kiss Army Things. Go check In My Head podcast. And who knows how big this Rosemont group could potentially get. And to have all of us in one space, even if we're only going to film or record, 15 seconds of audio or whatever, I think is going to be cool. But getting to be in a room with you two gentlemen, that's going to be
us three right here. It doesn't get much better than that.
Can't wait.
And Rob, do you have a Kiss tattoo?
No, I don't.
Easy, son.
when you're here, there's a lot of 24-hour places after the show.
Rob's religious like I am. We don't know if we can.
Yeah,
do that.
You may have to convince somebody else really hard first.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a losing battle.
Yeah.
Well, Ellen's getting one too.
Oh, there you go. She would look at me and go, "You're a little baby. You're not going to be able to handle this."
She'll never see it, Rob. Trust me.
Yeah, there you go.
A little RBTE one could be fun.
I love the flash tattoo, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Is this your first time seeing it?
It's the first time seeing it. Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. And then with great power, there must come responsibility in the original Lee font.
That's awesome.
Shout out to
these millennials. They could still get jobs, Rob.
They can still get jobs.
Yeah, we can get jobs.
They wouldn't hire you.
Back in the day. I could get my nose pierced if I wanted.
Hey, Flash Arm, get out of here. We're not going to have you.
Heck yeah, like Flash.
I can't have you talking to my customers with that thing on your arm. It's too distracting. Get out of here.
Cover it up. No,
exactly.
All right. Well, that's where we're going to end the show. I think I'm going to do something at the end. So that's essentially it for the show.
Oh, that was great, Rob. That was a lot of fun, man.
Dude, that was unreal. Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
So thanks for making this happen. And
hey, Rob, when you do it, like if he can't do it too, like when you do the next round table or something, let me know because I would love. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, dude,
yeah. I wanted to say that too.
But I mean, if you're not around or something like that, because that's pretty cool when you guys just kind of. It's almost like there's no topic, it's
better that way.
There is no
fantastic,
To me, the idea of the round table, there's no topic. You just put a couple Kiss fans in the room, and we'll have one seed that starts it. And I look at the clock and go,
dude, I love that last one. I watched it. It was great.
I still have to watch, but he was raving about it, so I'm excited.
It was good.
Yeah, because I love what we do, but every once in a while, it's just like it's open. And you just start bringing shit up and everybody talks. It's
to me, the trio, I want to try and preserve this as much as I can for the audio side.
Of course.
I hate not doing shows without both of you, but I get it logistically. But the YouTube, I'm just trying to get content out there and I don't want to offend either way, but I would love for you guys to be part of that if you can. Yeah,
just let me know when you do the next one because those guys are cool dudes and I get a kick out. Like I got a kick out of watching that one. I didn't watch it live. I watched it. The replay of it, and I was laughing my ass off. There was some great stuff on there,
I do want to think about the next one. If you guys want to do, we've done music and stuff. Oh, really quick, while you're here, how would you rank if you got a second?
Yeah.
How would you rank Poughkeepsie off the soundboard?
Oh yeah, Dad, do this real fast.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay.
Album ranking. I should have pulled it up. Because I'm going to record this. I'm going to slip it into another episode while you're here.
Sure.
Okay. I can't see on the screen, but we're still going to go here. All right. You ready?
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1.